What does the word hope mean to you? Hey friends, it's Pastor Mike from Fellowship Church. Always love connecting with you midweek. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Just a quick thought for you. I'll be on vacation for a couple of weeks, so we won't have midweek videos until about the Labor Day holiday. Look forward to seeing you back then. That question for you again, what does the word hope mean to you? True story. World War II, German prisoner of war camp. Allied prisoners, German soldiers. Most of the Allied prisoners were Americans. The Americans had actually smuggled in a radio, and of course were hiding it from the Germans. You've probably seen that or heard of that before, so that the Americans were able to keep track of what was going on in the war and back home while they were stuck in that prisoner of war camp. And the American prisoners discovered, even before the German soldiers, that the German high command had surrendered. Something hadn't been communicated properly through the German ranks, or maybe radios didn't work, whatever it was. But the American soldiers, the American prisoners, knew before the German soldiers that the armistice was taking place and that freedom was soon to come. For 3 days, the American soldiers knew that the war was over, and the German soldiers did not. The Americans were different. They were different because they knew what was coming. They were celebrating, they were singing songs, they were telling jokes at lunchtime, they were caring for one another, they were talking about future plans, they weren't even afraid of the German soldiers anymore. Meanwhile, the German soldiers were thinking, what is up with these people? They're behaving very differently. They seem to smile more, and they have a spark in their eye again. And then one morning, the Americans wake up and discover that the doors were now unlocked, the gates were open, all of the German soldiers had fled. Why? Because they now knew the truth as well. The war was over. It's just that the Americans knew it earlier. They knew it. And for 3 days, they lived differently. Why? Because they knew what was coming. Hey friends, you're already half a step ahead of me now, aren't you? How do you define the word hope? And what does hope mean to you? Well, friends, here's what hope means to me. Hope to me is living differently today, because we know what's coming tomorrow, or next week, next month, next year, next decade. Whenever God decides to complete his plan of salvation for this world, hope, friends, is living different today because we know what's coming. And friends, we do know what's coming because our Bible tells us what's coming. It tells us what we get to look forward to. In the book of Revelation, Revelation 21, we read that the old order of things has passed away, and the voice on the throne, the voice of God says, behold, I am making everything new. So here's a question for you. When you look at the world today, and you look at everything that's going wrong in this world, and all the stress, all the anxiety, all the conflict, all the fighting, all the bloodshed, all the war, all the suffering, watching the news, and at times wanting to shield our eyes and even cover our hearts because of the pain of this world. Do you live differently because even in the midst of that, we still have hope? Yeah, I know that's an incredible burden for us all to bear at some point in time because we look at the pain of this world, and with empathy and compassion, we can't help but hurt with this world. And yet God says, that's the old order. And behold, I am making everything new. And friends, we know that's coming. The American soldiers, those soldiers in that prisoner of war camp, they only lived that way for 3 days. And then they realized the reward of their hope. Friends, we've been living a lot more than 3 days, but that doesn't diminish our hope. That doesn't diminish the activity that's in our hearts and minds looking forward to this. So friends, do you live differently today? Even in the midst of all the pain of this world, do you live differently today because you have hope in what God is going to accomplish someday? Bedrock foundation, that's truth. Friends, the old order of things will pass away because behold, he is making everything new. And that helps us live differently today. I hope that makes sense to you. It does for me. That's how I understand hope. Friends, hope you have a wonderful week. Look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks. Take care. God bless.